Welcome back for another helping of oysters, clams, and cockles presented by Bolen Media. I am Ross Bolen, here today with producer Kade Orris to discuss and review the movie Friendship. You ready to dive into this insanity, Kade?
Let's do it.
We're on the edge of life, and the view is gorgeous. We'll start off with a spoiler-free review and warn you sufficiently before we get to the spoilery section of today's show. Friendship is an American black comedy film written and directed by Andrew DeYoung in his directorial debut. It's his feature film directorial debut. He's done a bunch of TV, directed 4 episodes of Our Flag Means Death for HBO, 3 episodes of Dave for FX/Hulu, a whole bunch of other shows you can see on his IMDb. I would note that as of this recording, you can still catch Friendship in theaters, although it is available to rent or purchase on demand. And frankly, this is not a must-see in theaters type of movie. You did see it in theaters, though, Kade. Did you feel like that enhanced this experience in any way?
Yeah, I would say so. I went opening night, and so it was a sold-out crowd. I mean, it was a smaller theater. There's maybe like 4 or 5 rows, and like it was just like really compact. But like, I assume like everyone there has seen like all of Tim Robinson's stuff. So like, the crowd was, you're gonna get a good crowd.
It's
and,
probably exclusively Tim Robinson fans.
Yeah.
On opening night of Friendship.
But yeah, no, everyone was laughing. It was a good time, and like. When I was watching I Think You Should Leave, like back in the day when it first released with like my friends, it was like I watched it by myself first and then I put my friends onto it, and I enjoyed it a lot more when I was watching it with other people.
Okay, that's a fair point.
We get all the jokes, and like we have all these inside jokes later on and stuff. So
when you feed off other people's laughter too,
yeah.
It kind of makes everything funnier when you watch. So never mind, I take it back. If you can go see it in theaters and you can see it with a crew, with a squad. That's probably the better option.
It's a good time, yeah.
Especially because it is insanely strange. It's a weird one, yeah.
And you just rented it? You didn't buy it twice?
No, I just rented this one. Yeah, just rented this one successfully. I think it expires in like 48 hours or whatever. I still don't understand the rental process with these on-demand streamers, like with Amazon and Apple TV. It's like, or Apple. You get, once you've rented it, you have 30 days to start watching it. And once you start watching it, you have 48 hours before it expires.
Right. I never understood that. I'm not a big renter of movies either. I'd rather just like wait for it to like actually come out on streaming.
Well, and also as we discussed during our review of Sinners last week, it's like a $5 difference.
Right.
When they're still in theaters, it's like $19.99 to rent, $24.99 to buy. It's like you might as well cough up the extra $5 and just buy it. For whatever reason, with this one, I didn't. Friendship stars Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd. The plot centers on Craig Waterman, played by Tim Robinson, a socially awkward marketing executive who wants to be friends with his new neighbor, Austin, played by Paul Rudd, who is a charismatic weatherman. I don't feel like any synopsis could accurately reflect this movie. I don't think you can explain this movie in one paragraph.
No, you really can't.
Like the tagline for the film is "Men shouldn't have friends," which I guess plugs in, but it's like that's sort of my point. Like it takes a little bit more time, a few more lines to really explain what this thing is doing. It is somehow Friendship is somehow to me more of a horror movie than Sinners was, which we again reviewed last week. But it's on the opposite end of the racial spectrum.
Like, very much so.
Sinners is black art. Friendship is very, very white art. Very weird, very white. I'm shocked, still, sitting here now, that Tim Robinson did not write this.
Did Andrew DeYoung write it?
DeYoung, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's kind of crazy, because I went in thinking...
I just assumed that this was like, Tim Robinson's like movie debut thing.
It's very, I think you should leave. Like, there are some scenes where I'm like, that could just be
just straight up.
I think you should leave sketch. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. If you're a fan of Detroiters and I Think You Should Leave, then you will likely enjoy this movie. Straight up, very straightforward. If you like Tim Robinson coded stuff, this is definitely for you. If you are not a Tim Robinson fan and a fan of his prior work, then at about 30 different points in this film, you will probably wonder what the hell you're watching.
Did your wife watch it with you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Do you feel like this would be something like easier to get people who like aren't familiar with this stuff to like get into, like show
to get into Tim Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an easier bridge to his style of comedy because like it's a funny movie. Like it is a funny movie on like a normal level. It is a funny comedy. But then there are the moments like when Craig inexplicably eats a bar of soap in an effort to apologize for knocking Austin unconscious, that is just straight Tim Robinson. I think you should leave extremely awkward weirdness, which if you're not accustomed to it, might make you question your sanity. The movie's main themes are how desperate many of us can be for the approval of our peers and our colleagues, how shallow and immature many male friendships are, like just sitting in the garage, drinking beers, beating the shit out of each other. How lonely and directionless humanity has become. How you should really mind no trespassing signs and never enter the sewers. It's probably a good takeaway.
Big takeaway from this film, yeah.
Also, how when you meet someone that you think is just like the coolest person on earth, and you're like, why the hell can't I be like that? And all you want to do is hang with that person as much as possible in hopes that they'll like rub off on you somehow, which is, I feel like that's an immature version of friendship. You know, that's like a high school thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you meet somebody that you're just like, okay, this is the coolest person on earth. I have to be friends with this person.
Yeah. And then you start picking up on like their mannerisms and like things they're into.
Yeah.
And
stay curious.
Stay curious, yeah.
Yeah, you start ripping their one-liners and stuff.
That's Cherry, yeah.
That's Cherry, yeah, exactly. Now, I like dark comedy. I love Tim Robinson. Big fan. I think Paul Rudd, in general, I'm a fan of. But like him as Austin in this movie, it's like one of the few negative things I have to say here is that Austin, Paul Rudd's character, was a little bit too Anchorman for me.
Yeah.
And I think the inclusion of the mustache was
he looks
probably
exactly
a mistake.
like his character from Anchorman, yeah.
He's even a weatherman, which is a bit strange. Not a news anchor, but he's a weatherman, and I can't remember. I think he's the sports guy in Anchorman, if I remember correctly. But he's a news guy, is the point. In fact, just a strange fact about this movie, Paul Rudd's character was originally named Brian in the script.
And is that his name?
Brian is his name in Anchorman.
Okay.
So when he got cast, he requested a change to avoid confusion with his Anchorman character, and he suggested the name Austin. So Austin is what they went with. But Austin is basically a mix of Paul Rudd's character in Anchorman and his character in I Love You, Man. So, like, you know, I kind of wanted more there, like more differentiation. And Paul Rudd is not like the greatest actor of all time. He's mostly really lovable as Paul Rudd.
Yeah, very charismatic.
Right. There's a lot of actors who they have one note that they play, but that note is phenomenal, and they make like a 30-year career out of it. You know, like another one just off the top of my head because I've watched a lot of his stuff recently. Seth Rogen is always Seth Rogen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not that I expected like some Academy Award-winning performance from Paul Rudd, but that Austin character was a little bit too much. Had too many similarities to things I've seen with him before. I'm still trying to decipher some elements of this movie. There are just certain scenes, like I'll throw a random one out that's not really a spoiler. When Austin shows Craig the package that he received.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a 300,000-year-old...
Like, it's like a rock or something.
Stone, like, yeah, one of the early human tools.
Yeah.
I don't really know how that plugged in.
Yeah, I don't get the meaning.
I guess it was supposed to be a counter to the fact that Craig's job is making apps as addictive as possible. Mm-hmm. Right? What does he say the explanation is? He's like...
he says like...
Habit forming.
Habit forming, yes.
That they like to use the phrase habit forming, not addictive. Mm-hmm. But so I guess it was supposed to draw a comparison between how in our day and age everybody's glued to their phones and addicted to screens, and then, you know, Austin doesn't really vibe that way. He's got like this like prehistoric fucking tool. Mm-hmm. I don't really know. But the point is, there's a lot of little things like that in the movie where I think it takes a little bit more thought to really figure out what the heck was being said there. But on the whole, I recommend Friendship if you're looking for a perfectly acceptable amount of laughs mixed with some introspective depth and topped with extremely cringe awkwardness spread out over an hour and 40 minutes. This is not one of those movies that stretches on forever and goes on way too long. There might have been a little fat in the middle, somewhere around the 45-minute mark when his wife is missing. You're like, what's happening here? Let's kind of get on with it. But for the most part, easily digestible. Even if you're not a Tim Robinson guy or girl, you're going to get laughs. There are really funny scenes. And then there's some depth to it as well, which is the reason I think it's something I would recommend. I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. And honestly, it's the type of movie I could see growing on me over time.
Yeah.
Like, we fired it up again this morning because we're still in the 48-hour window. So we've got it playing in the office. And it's rewatchable.
Oh, absolutely.
To me, is kind of my point.
Yeah.
What would your rating be of this one, Kade?
I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd, and I mean, my review, if you can really call it that, I said it was like just a giant I think you should leave sketch is basically what I took away from it.
Yeah.
But
by the way, our Letterboxd handles, so you can follow us. I'm Boss Roland. It's just my name, Ross Bolen, with the R and the B switched, and then he's just at Kade Orris.
Yeah.
Also very straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah. Getting in the proper nutrition every day is tough for most of us. Greens, in particular, veggies and such, are a challenge. I've tried some greens supplements, but frankly, nothing has ever really stuck until Factor Forms Daily Greens. Factor is a longtime sponsor of our show, and if you've loved their meals, you will love their greens. Factor Form time, baby. Most of us dread drinking greens, but Factor Form changed the game. You will actually crave your greens. As the sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. With a refreshing, citrusy, clean, and smooth taste that's actually enjoyable to drink, mix a single-serve pack in water, and you're good to go. Very straightforward, very simple. The problem with most green supplements is that they taste like an old shoe. Not so with Factor Form, which is delicious while being just as healthy for you as those other brands. Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it, I should add. In a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked #1 in taste, texture, and aroma. Beating out the biggest names in the industry, they've also got delicious protein powder and hydration boosters as well. Within days, you'll feel a difference. More energy, less bloat, sharper focus. It's a daily habit that feels like a win because it tastes good and makes you feel even better. Start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/OCC to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/OCC for 40% off plus free shipping. Factor75.com/OCC. Catch the link and the description in the details of this episode. Okay, henceforth, we will be discussing spoilers for Friendship. So if you haven't watched it yet, leave now, watch it, enjoy it, come back for the rest of our discussion afterward. One of the things, I joked earlier that this is more of a horror film than Sinners, but it seriously, there were more ominous vibes in this movie to me than there were in Sinners, I think. Something about it is just kind of crushing as well. Like, it's sort of a downer at different
points. Oh, it really
points.
is, yeah.
Like, it made me sad,
Yeah.
Which, again, black comedy, right? It's dark. But like, even the intro music to the movie is eerie, creepy, and ominous.
And then they do like the really like slow zoom ins on him too,
which is a big horror movie thing.
Yeah,
that they do often.
They also had some other really weird transitions where like it would just like go to like a circle around his
like on
face.
his head.
Yeah, and then they would show like the other scene behind it.
Yeah, I kind of liked those.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice, but I did like it.
Yeah, it's artsier than most mainstream comedies.
Yeah, this definitely felt more artsy in a lot of different ways, more than like what I was expecting from a Tim Robinson comedy.
Much more than you ever get out of like I Think You Should Leave, for sure. Mm-hmm. One of the things we find out earlier in this movie is that Craig's wife, Tammy, is a cancer survivor. Tammy is played by Kate Mara, known best for House of Cards, Shooter, The Martian, Black Mirror, etc. She's had a hell of a career. The movie actually opens with them attending a meeting for cancer survivors where we find out Tammy is living in fear that her cancer will return and has not achieved orgasm in some time. Craig still orgasms fine, though. Tammy eventually does achieve orgasm when she's lost in the sewers. I don't really get like this is another example of something that I was like, why did they include that? Like the cancer bit.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think it comes up again, really.
Not really. I think at one point he says like, you're well,
Yeah.
like you're healthy now. You want to do more like spontaneous things when he's taking her into the sewer.
Yeah.
But it was an odd element that is something I feel like I need to think about more to really understand. I guess part of it, now that I'm going through it, is that her getting sick, her having cancer, now she's 12 months cancer-free when the movie starts, feels like it's part of what really shook up Craig and Tammy's relationship. I think the point is supposed to be in part that we are meeting this couple in a very strange place in their lives, where folks who have had cancer can attest to the fact that it really it's like a reset. It gives you a very fresh perspective on everything. It changes you in a lot of ways, more than just physically. So I guess that's part of it, but it's sort of a strange element mixed into this thing, and another piece of what makes it a dark comedy. Tammy, Craig's wife, her ex-boyfriend, Devin, comes up regularly.
Right.
It's like a running bit throughout the movie that Craig doesn't remember who Devin is, no matter how many times she brings him up. He's like, who?
Who? Yeah. Who you talking about? Yeah.
What? And that really grades on her. Like that pisses her off a lot. That
just because, it shows that like he doesn't really like.
He's not listening.
Really not paying attention. Doesn't really care.
Which is a classic relationship trope.
Yeah.
Like fake listening, particularly with dudes.
Right.
You know, we get called out on that a lot. But yeah, really early on, and within the first 15 minutes, you do start to get the impression that like Craig's going to have a hard time holding on to his wife.
Yeah, they're not gonna last.
They're not in a great spot.
No.
Tammy is probably going to bounce.
Yeah, she's constantly mentioning that she's like going on dates with Devin, and that like they rekindled their relationship like either during or after her battle with cancer.
Right.
So then like that whole like situation was like
it's really awkward.
Awkward, and like I was kind of confused on like their whole dynamic. Like,
yeah, their relationship dynamic.
Like when her and Devin started like talking, or like when they broke up, and then they have a son. They have a son too.
Yeah,
but I don't know whose kid it is.
I'm pretty sure Steven is Tammy and Devin's kid.
Okay.
And they don't come out and directly say this.
Yeah.
But they're like when you're introduced to their, I think, 16-year-old son. It is very confusing.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a while to be like, what? Who? Like, at first, I was like, who is this? I thought it was one of Tammy's employees for her flower business or something.
Oh, yeah.
He kisses Tammy on the mouth, and Craig comments on it. He's like, you guys kiss on the lips?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's supposed to be his kid, so that wouldn't that be fine? I could have sworn at one point they refer to him as, like, Craig's stepson.
Right.
But it's not with Craig present.
But then, like, he also calls Craig dad at one point.
Yeah.
And not to say that like a stepchild couldn't like call them dad, but
right.
like he doesn't seem like the kind of dude that would call him Craig.
Right. You don't get the impression that Steven might not be aware that Craig is not his dad.
Yeah.
But I think you're supposed to and this is not something that really hit me during my first watch. I think you're supposed to walk away with the impression that Steven is probably the offspring of Tammy and her ex, Devin. Yeah. And because, in one of the many, many, many bizarre and awkward scenes that occurs, Craig yells out something like, "That's my best friend, 16 years," something like that, referring to his wife. And so they've been together for like 16 years. That's a really long time. And you do not feel that with their relationship. Like,
no, honestly, it was kind of tough to buy their relationship to begin with, because like
right.
Tammy's like pretty attractive. Then you got Tim Robinson, who just
no one watches this movie and doesn't ask, how the hell did Craig pull Tammy?
Yeah, it's
how that's definitely an element of it for sure. But yeah. His son, Steven, is probably the weirdest character in this movie.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Now, for the first 20 minutes or so, this is kind of feel good. Like, it's this guy, he's got this sort of weird home life. You don't know what the deal is with Steven. His wife's a cancer survivor. She's running a flower business. He seems kind of lonely, and it's Tim Robinson. He's a fucking weirdo, man. He can't. I don't think he could play a straight guy. Like, he has to play a weirdo.
Right.
And he meets this neighbor because the package got delivered to the wrong house, so he takes it to their house, to Austin's house, and Austin has just moved into the neighborhood. He's new to the neighborhood. And he even tells him, like, oh, it's a shame we didn't meet earlier. You didn't move here earlier.
Oh, yeah, because we
were about to move. Like, they have a for sale sign in front of their house. And I don't think that ever comes up again.
Nope.
Which is a little weird. But anyway, feel good for about 20 minutes. You're like, okay, he's like striking up a friendship with this character played by Paul Rudd. Seems like both of these guys could use a friend. But then about 25 minutes in, when Craig hangs with Austin's friend group for the first time and they end up boxing in the garage, shit starts to fall apart very, very fast. And I mean, the dude is sucking a random bar of soap that he picked up off the garage sink. It's just insane behavior.
But like before they get to the garage, like things are going well, and I mean,
yeah,
he does. I think he's because like when he's like going outside and he's like smoking a heater, and then like he goes back inside, but like he doesn't know the sliding glass door is closed. Like I think that like. I don't know.
It's probably the first moment you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
When he cracks the sliding glass door with his face.
But like I think it helps like break the tension.
The ice. Yeah. Yeah, because he doesn't really know how to act with these guys. Yeah. He's new here.
I think that's like in a lot of like friendship. Like you might have one friend that you know pretty well, but then like you're hanging out with like, say like his high school or like college friends that you don't know, and they have...
They have a dynamic already.
Yeah, that you're not familiar with. So it's tough to like...
Very difficult.
Break into.
And fit yourself in, find your place. They've got inside jokes. These Paul Rudd's friend group, they're singing
My Boo.
Yeah.
A cappella. just randomly breaking
out
the
of
song.
Nowhere. Out of nowhere. The whole crew is singing it. That just, I mean, which is like, that would be a really bizarre circumstance. Like if that happened in real life, I'd be like, all right, I'm probably out of here. This is you guys are weird. But it's an example, right, of how it feels when you're in someone else's friend group, trying to adapt, find your spot, fit into the dynamic, and you're like, what the hell is happening here? Now, Craig is enamored by it. He kind of loves it.
Yeah.
Like he feels like he's flying.
Yeah.
Right?
And then like, is this when he gets into like the fantasy where like he's like hanging out with all of them at like a bar, and then like ends up going to like the apocalypse or whatever?
I think it's shortly after this.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Which is one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he has these bizarre fantasies about how he sees his life going.
Yeah.
And which somehow leads to this apocalyptic scene.
And he's just bringing like some wood that
it's like 4 pieces of wood.
And Austin's like, you saved humanity because of this.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And he also drops the line, without you, the neighborhood would have been a racetrack, because he had already told Austin about how
he put in the speed bumps.
He got the speed bump put in by complaining over and over about people speeding through the neighborhood or whatever. But at this point, at the hang where he literally knocks Austin out cold, you have an hour and 15 minutes to go. So you know it's going to be a shit show because things have escalated very quickly here.
Yeah, the friendship has already soured.
And it just started. Yeah. Literally just started. So a lot of other things happen. Some of the high points, the Toad journey, when things really start to fall apart.
Yeah.
And they kind of allude to it. Like at one point, he breaks into Austin's house. I can't remember the reasoning. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, it's because he got another
package that he went to go drop off, right? And it's just an example of like this dude Craig doesn't understand boundaries or like social norms. He literally breaks into the dude's house. But he's in Austin's office and he finds like that golden pistol, which I don't know.
Do we have the golden pistol out?
Oh no, we should. Damn it, we have a golden pistol in our studio usually. Pretend one, fake.
Yeah.
Just for the record. But then he sees a book about ayahuasca. And so that's when he goes to the drug, when he meets up with that kid, whatever the drug dealer's name is. T-Boy, Tony, a.k.a. T-Boy. And he asks him first, like, do you have any ayahuasca? And he's like, no, but I've got Toad.
Yeah.
You know? And when he does the Toad, and it's a really quick journey, like he goes to Subway and orders a sandwich from an aging version of
Austin.
Of Austin. And then that's it. I thought maybe the rest of the movie was also part of the Toad journey.
Okay.
Like, it's not made clear one way or the other, but you could certainly interpret it that way because T-Boy asks him, he's like, how long was it? Was it like 4 or 5 months? And he's like, no, it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I ordered a sandwich. But that was fucking hilarious. I loved that. When he's like, did you get the answers you needed? Yeah. No, I ordered a sandwich. T-Boy, fantastic character. Loved him. Another element I don't understand, one that I'd need to think about more. I don't understand the golden pistol. I don't understand why he had it.
Why it was gold. Yeah,
why it was gold. Why it was in a special box that said something on it, like storms are coming. I think is what it said on the box.
I didn't catch that, but
I don't know why Craig.
I think Austin's character just has like random shit that he thinks is
like quirky, cool things that he likes.
Because even in like his house is like
You're
very
right.
like 70s thing. And he's just like, I don't know. He just has a bunch of just like random shit.
Yeah,
it feels like
that rock.
Yeah, the
from
rock
earlier in the movie, the pistol, the ayahuasca book.
Mm-hmm.
He's got quirky taste. He's a quirky guy.
And well, it ends up not being true, but like he even tells Craig that it's like, I don't even have a cell phone. I'm just like free from it all. But he ends up obviously having one.
Yeah, it's weird because the way he says it, he's like, I don't have a phone.
Yeah.
And I think what he meant to say is, I don't have my phone on me.
Mm-hmm.
But because he says it the way he does, Craig interprets it as, oh, this guy's so cool, he doesn't even have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Right? Another big, difference between these two dudes. One dude is developing apps to make them more addictive or habit forming. The other one doesn't even carry his cell phone on these mushroom picking adventures that he goes on
Right.
when he's finding truffle shrooms or whatever the fuck he's doing out there. But Craig misinterprets it. It makes Austin even cooler to him. And then later when he finds out Austin does have a phone, it's almost like heartbreaking. When he goes and visits him at the news station after he gets the morning news job.
Right.
And he takes out his phone and he's like, you have a cell phone?
Yeah.
And you could tell it's like the facade is sort of broken there, right? I don't really get why Craig has nosebleeds around Austin.
No,
Just
not
that
really.
he gets so excited that he's got this new friend that he's so obsessed with, I guess.
I know it. So it happens when they first meet, and then it happens again when he gets the second package
And the opportunity to go back over there.
Yeah. Does it happen again?
I think one more after that, yeah. Craig loves Ocean View Dining, where he gets all of his clothing. This was very, I think you should leave.
Oh, yeah. There's always some sort of like clothing
brand jokes.
Yeah.
They've got the one with all the patterns. The more insane the pattern, the more expensive.
Oh God, what's the name of that?
I can't remember. They've got a whole sketch about those.
TC Tuggers.
TC Tuggers. Yeah. So he likes doing jokes like that, which again is why I'm so shocked that he didn't write this movie or have a writer's credit.
Right.
It's just, I guess the dude who wrote it, what's his name?
Andrew
DeYoung.
Yeah.
Maybe wrote it with Tim Robinson in mind, so plugged in some jokes, or maybe there was a lot more improv than I maybe knew going in.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff like that that's so, I think you should leave coded.
Also, like, just like his big brown puffy coat that he wears all the time. I love that. Like, he's always rocking it.
Ocean View Dining,
Ocean
dude.
View Dining.
They even make food.
They even make food. They fit great.
Yeah. Now, there has to be an ending to strange movies like this.
Right.
I don't even know how to explain the ending of this one. Like, I thought Craig Waterman was going to commit sue. I thought he was gonna kill himself. I thought it was gonna get really, really dark.
Like,
because he stole the pistol. And I guess he loses everything. His wife bounces.
Yep.
Then we have this sequence where he like cleans up his act, seemingly, starts to piece his life back together.
He gets another job.
Stops being such a weirdo.
Yep.
Get to the point where Tammy's back over at the house, hanging with him and their quote unquote son, and he's going to pick up some candles.
He got Tammy the van she's always wanted.
Right.
That she kept bugging him about.
Starting to do things that he should have done a long time ago.
You see Tammy like start like, oh, he's changed.
Yeah,
like,
she's into it.
Yeah,
he's back on track. He leaves to get the candles.
Yeah,
he sees the yellow Corvette. It's too cherry for him to handle, and he fucking freaks
He
out.
crashes out hard.
And crashes out as hard as you possibly can,
Yeah.
pretty much, without committing, a mass murder, which he almost does. Why is that pistol loaded? Why is it loaded? But yeah, so it, that, I don't know what to take away from the ending, because you can't tell. Again, this is why I bring up the toad thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell how much of this is like reality versus it's in Craig's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
The cops show up. He gets arrested. He's in the back of the cruiser. He looks over, and Austin looks back at him sort of like with admiration and winks at him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically the end.
Yeah.
He even has this fantasy
where like
that everything didn't go wrong.
Right. And they're all saying bye to each other.
Bouncing back to that night of the boxing incident, I think, is what is actually happening there.
Okay, yeah,
Because he gives him that same line. He's like, "You sure know how to get home?" And he's like, "I'll do my best," which is obviously a joke because he lives right down the street. That line got delivered after that awkward boxing scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I like it, though. I liked the ending.
Right.
Like 10 minutes out, I was like, how are they going to wrap this up? This is ridiculous.
When I was watching it again last night, it was like, I felt like they could have ended it like on a positive note when he's like going like to get the candles or whatever, and then like they do a really like slow like zoom in on the house, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna be the end of the movie,
Right?
And then he sees the Corvette, and then like he has
they pump fake you.
Yeah.
Then he turns around, drives back into the frame, going the other way. And at first, he clearly, I think his plan was to crash into the Corvette. I think he was going to drive the van.
Okay,
into
yeah,
the
I was
Corvette.
like, why is he like going like 100 right here?
Oh my God, I hadn't even unwrapped this. Now I get it. He was going to drive the van into the Corvette. He hits the speed bump
Right, yeah.
that he had installed,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of messes up his aim with the van.
Yeah.
So then he just decides, I'm going in.
I'm going, and he's just gonna act like everything's normal. He goes to the fridge and he's double fisted.
And he desperately asks him, he's like, he does the apology,
Yeah.
which is genuine. And then he's like, so can I hang out? I apologize.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, no. They have a new guy.
Jimp.
Jimp. J-I-M-P.
It's like jump, but with an eye.
I mean, dude, it gets so strange and so funny at the end there. But yeah, like, it's one of those movies when you're done with it, you're like, what am I supposed to take away from this? Like,
Is it that men shouldn't have friends?
Because it's trying to make you think about shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with all the dumb laughs and the awkward moments and the cringe comedy, like, mixed in, there's this depth that's hard to mine mid-watch. Like, you have to get past it and think about it some more. Maybe do a rewatch to get everything out of this that you're supposed to, I think.
Yeah.
But that was one of the reasons I really loved it. It was layered. And it has the moments of extreme Tim Robinson humor, but a lot of it is more straightforward comedy. And yeah, I kind of loved it.
Yeah.
Like, even just talking through it, I feel like I want to bump it up a half star to 4 stars.
There you go.
Which keeps happening to me.
Yeah.
It's what happened with Sinners.
Yeah.
Because I had to go back and watch
post-credit scene.
The post-credit scene added another half star. So yeah, that was it. That was Friendship. And we hope you enjoyed our review. Subscribe to our channel if you're watching on YouTube. Absolutely crush the like button. Leave us a comment sharing your favorite line from Friendship. A lot of good lines. A lot of good one-liners.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I think you should leave fashion, Good one-liners that no one could possibly understand unless they've seen it.
No. I think I might, when he's talking about going to the bar, he's like, I might have a sip or few. I'm like, that's going to be a line that I use all the time.
There's a new one, right?
New one for me.
Big thanks to producer Cade for stepping up to the microphone again today. Barrett should be back from paternity leave next week. Search Oysters, Clams, and Cockles on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and or Facebook to enjoy clips from our show, memes, and other content. Support our sponsors. Today we had Factor Form. Start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/OCC to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. Link and description in the details of this episode. Until next time, I'll leave you guys with this. We should still be in Afghanistan, and I don't know why we pulled out in the way we did.